So we've already learned 2 ways to solve systems using matrices. So Cramer's rule is going to be our third way. This will be a third way to solve systems. We've done the augmented matrix where we triangularize. We did inverse matrices, that A inverse times B, and now we're doing Cramer's rule. So it is something you have to know how to do. You're not going to have to memorize these formulas and rewrite the formulas, but I would write them down now so when you're practicing some problems, you kind of have a guide to see where things go. I'll talk you through it, and when we do an example, it'll look much easier. Okay, so remember the bars mean determinant. So we need to find determinant of D, and the D matrix is just our coefficient matrix. Okay, then the dx matrix is where you take your constants, the numbers after the equal sign, and you replace the x column. dy, you replace the y column with those. And then to find the value of x, you're finding all of those determinants. So for this 2x2 system, you find the determinant of d, the determinant of dx, and the determinant of y. So 3 determinants. And then you got determinant of dx divided by determinant of d. That gives you x. That gives you the value of x. Same thing with y. Okay? So let's look at an example. And we're just going to, for this one, write out the matrices. So it says find dx, dy, and d. It's not asking us to find the determinant because it doesn't have the bars around them. So just writing out the matrices. I always start with D, start with the original one. So that's the coefficients. So -1 and 5, and then 3 and -2. Okay. And then dx, you're going to replace the x column. So I'm going to copy the y column down 5, -2 from the original. And then I'm replacing the x column with the constants. So 12, -8. Okay, and then dy, I'm going to replace the y column. So I'm going to copy the x column down from D, from the original. And then I'm replacing the y column with the constants. Okay, so that's the setup. Then what you would do to solve, you would find the determinants of all three of those, which is what you've done the warm-up, AD minus BC. Okay, find the determinant. And then to find x, you would do dx divided by d, dy divided by d. And that would give you y. Okay? So let's do the whole thing for 10. First thing I need to do is I need to write these equations in standard form so I have everything lined up. So for this first equation, I'm going to add the 2y, so x plus 2y equals -11. And then in the second equation, I need to subtract 2x, so it'll be -2x plus y equals -13. Okay. So I want the D matrix. So what will that be? What will my first row of the D matrix be? 1, 2, and then -2, 1. Okay, and now let's do dx. So if it's dx, you're replacing x. So y stays the same. And then what am I going to replace the x column with? Good. -11 and -13. Good? Okay. Now dy. You're replacing y, so x stays the same as d. And then you'll replace the y column with -11, -13. Okay? All right. Now let's find their determinants. So remember, determinant of a 2 by 2 is AD minus BC. So determinant of D is 1 minus -4, which is 5. Okay, now find determinant of dx. That's -11 minus -26. That gives us 15. And then determinant of dy is negative 13 minus negative 11 times negative 2 is positive 22. So 13 minus 22. Negative 13 minus 22, and that should be negative 35. Okay, good. So now we just have to divide. So d is what we divide by. So think about d by itself, d denominator, that's what you're dividing by. So to find x, you're doing the determinant of dx divided by the determinant of d. So 15 divided by 5 tells me that x equals 3. Okay, and then y is the determinant of dy divided by the determinant of d. So negative 35 divided by 5, negative 7. So those are my answers. We've solved for x and y. So when you're solving the system, you either get an ordered pair or ordered triple. This is just x and y, so 3, negative 7. Okay? Yes.
This is kind of a dumb question, I'm sorry, but like, what's the order for
So 3, negative 7 is your solutions for x and y. So, like if you solve this without matrices, you could either use substitution or eliminate. I would probably do substitution here. You put that in for y, solve for x, and then you find y. So those are equations of lines. You graph them. 3, negative 7 is where they intersect. Okay, so we just learned to solve that using a matrix. So taking out the variables and then solve it without the matrix. So in relation to a matrix, I think the best way to look at it was like where you would have your A inverse times B. So you have your coefficient matrix times xy. That gives you negative 11, negative 13. So if you plug in 3, negative 7 here for x and y and multiply those, you would get negative 11 and negative 13. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. So we can do this with a 3 by 3 matrix 2. We just have a third variable. So you would find z by doing dz divided by d. Okay, so we'll do this the same way. So I'm going to start with matrix D. I'm going to write that one up here. So matrix D is just a coefficient matrix. So if I fill that in, that's 1, my top row is 1, 3, 5, 2, negative 4, 6, 9, negative 6, 3. So it's a 3 by 3. I have 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay, so then dx I'm copying down y and z from D. And then I'm replacing it with my constant, so the numbers after the equal sign. And use here. I'm going to write down y. Just a little bit. I don't know, it shouldn't be. Thank you. Okay, so then dy is, I'm replacing y, so I want to copy down x and z from the original. And then dz. I want x and y to stay the same. Okay, so I need to find the determinants. And finding the determinant of a 3 by 3, that's what we did on Monday. So you could do the expansion by minors or like that column rotation, the shortcut method. I do want to practice it by hand, doing one of those two for D, and then I'll show you dx, dy, and dc on the calculator to save us some time. Because we're going to have to find 4 determinants. So that'll take a long time to do that all by hand. All right, so column rotation, if you want to find determinant of D, then I'm going to copy down row 1 and 2. Okay, and then when I want to find, I'm going to multiply the numbers in the diagonals and add the diagonals together. So I'm starting in the top left. So that's 1 times -4 times 3 plus this one, which is 3 times 6 times 9 plus this diagonal 5 times 2 times -6. Okay. Minus, now I go to the diagonal starting at the bottom left. So 9 times -4 times 5 plus -6 times 6 times 1 plus 3 times 2 times 3. Okay? You will have to do this by hand on your test one time. At least once. You can always do it by hand later on. No, no. It'll say by hand, and you can choose either the expansion by minors or the column rotation. Okay, so you should get 288. Okay? So we should get 288 for that determinant. All right, so let's find the other 3 using the calculator. So I always go back through and I type these in to to matrix A, so I just keep editing matrix A. And the reason is because then I can do the same calculation, so I can call up my last operation. So I'll show you. Okay. So I need to go to second matrix, over to edit. It's a 3 by 3, 6, 3. I'm looking at dx right now. 5, 14, -4, 6, 3, -6. Okay. All right. So to do determinant, you're going to need to do a calculation. So you got to go back to the home screen, and then it's a matrix operation. Determinant is a matrix operation. So you got to go back to matrix, and then it's over in math. It's the very first one. So matrix over to math, and it's the very first one. So you have determinant, and you want determinant of A. And you should get -288. Okay. Second mode. There you go. Okay, and now do the same thing for dy and dz. But I'm going to keep doing editing matrix A. And I just retype it in, so I don't try to just switch columns because then I might get confused. So I just retype it in. Okay. I go back to my home screen, and this is what I keep doing A. And this is just to save you some time and effort. Yes. I was doing dx.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I did dx. Okay. So you can call up the last operation you did by hitting second enter. So then I don't have to go back and do determinant, do A again. It just saves me a little bit of time. So determinant of A, I hit second enter, and I brought that back up. You get -288 again for your dy. Okay. Now I want to do the same thing for dz. So I do have to go back and edit though.
This is Cecil.
Yes.
Can I please have Doreen and David to the counseling center at the end of the hour, please?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And then again, I just have to hit second enter, and I can bring that back up. You should get 576 for dz. Okay. That's the hard part. Now we're just dividing. So x is determinant of dx divided by determinant of d. So 288, -288 divided by 288, that's -1. Okay, y is determinant of dy over determinant of d. So that's again -288 over 288, which is -1. And then z is determinant of dz over determinant of d, which is 2. So my answer, x, y, z, -1, -1, 2. moment. We'll practice another one tomorrow.